travelers. This is channel 42. Welcome to In the Cafe. Today we've got a very special guest. It's been a long while since we've had him featured, so it's fantastic that we're able to finally get together and meet up. Today, our interview guest is Toctik. Toctik, hello, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello, it's
How we
good to
doing?
see you. I love your Gek outfit. That's really cool. This is the in-game character that you show as your profile, and also your favorite character that you play in-game as well, is it not?
He's actually kind of third fiddle if you look at the hours. But since joining the cafe, he's definitely been one I play a lot. He's kind of the one I dedicate to the cafe.
Yeah. Now that's the one with the Gek helmet too, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a close up of your helmet here. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So now, does it? Are you like a regular player, like an anomaly with a Gek helmet, or is it a Gek with a Gek helmet?
Well, the character Toctik comes from like old just role-playing stuff, and he was like a clockwork avian. So in No Man's Sky, if I wanted to do him, this would probably be about as close as I can get. Something
Right.
with a beak. That's something like a robot.
Okay. I'm having trouble with the camera angle, so I'm going to reset. Sorry about that, the audience. Um, the helmet itself that you unlock, when I first remembered it, it was the not available for Gak to wear.
I know.
So
I don't know if it's still that way or
okay, so your character itself, the one that you've dressed up,
it's actually like an anomaly.
that's
Yeah.
the anomaly, and it's got the Gek helmet. Okay, it
Yeah.
looks really cool. Actually, I like that. You look kind of like a tall Gek.
Yeah, they're not very tall.
That is really kind of neat. I'm curious, so with the helmet, does it make you have trouble sitting on certain objects?
Um, well, pretty much I've only been able to sit on like the couches and stuff with actual like sit commands. So
Okay,
I
I
don't know if
know.
that's part of it or
Well,
what.
I know like some other Get characters, like Lily Hop or uh, who is it? It's Polo, Elpida. Their characters, if they like sit on a table, they fall through a table or their
Oh
ship.
wow.
Yeah, and it's only Get characters because they're shorter, I guess, and the game hasn't I guess, taking that into account. So it's kind of neat. They always sit through things, not on things. For as regular,
Oh man.
yeah, regular anomalies and aliens, they just sit regularly on stuff, right? Because they're all regular sizes. But the Geks always sit through them, and it's quite funny because you'll you'll be wandering around a base and you're like, where the heck did Lily go? And there she is, her head's poking out of something because she's sitting in it.
Oh, I've run into stuff like that in games. I've got a couple really short characters in Star Trek Online, and there's a lot of things in missions where you need to touch this computer panel and do things, and they did not think about short characters. So
Ah,
I'm just sitting there jumping. Sometimes I'm up on the panel with my feet, and you're trying to reach the buttons.
oh, that's too funny. A game that did not design for other alien species. That's little short-minded on that one. So,
Yep.
um, okay, so Toctic, you are a member of the cafe and have been for I guess about 200 days now. Pretty close to around there. Your activity levels are mostly on the Discord. That's your preferred media platform. Although we do see you
Yep.
on both the Amino and Discord as well. What? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Let's see. 38 now. Be 39 this year later on
Okay,
in August.
so you fall right in range with the average age of cafe members and so on. Myself, I'm 46. I'm a little bit older, but usually low 40s to high 30s is our general base of members. Um, and of course, that explains an awful lot where we all seem to have in common with you as well.
We're all looking for that chill video game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It's kind of funny because it feels like when you first sort of came into the server. you had a kind of a personality. Like we all knew each other already, and obviously, the love of the game and personality types and so on and so forth lent itself really well because it felt like you were just part of the family as soon as you walked into the server. Um, you know, it- just instant friends. Not just you, but like your interaction levels with everybody else, Sentinel and Lily and Joe and so on and so forth. So it's really nice to find somebody who's like family that you know found a place. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Well, it
yeah,
was on Twitter. I was seeing this thing. That was like right around there was a big blow up, I guess, on the Discord server. And I was seeing on Twitter people talking, saying like bad things have just been done to some of the nicest people in No Man's Sky. And my response to that was just, oh, hell no. As soon as I can get in that door, I'm getting in there. I'm helping. I'm coming to be a force of good. Just we are
uh,
going to oppose that.
that's right. And you know what? It's appreciated, and a lot of people came together for the cafe for that time when that happened. It was tough, and it was a terrible time. But a lot of good came of it, and we've met a lot of people like yourself who came out of the woodwork who were unaware of the community itself, and have found themselves a home. And that's the thing about sometimes bad things happen for good reasons. That may have been one of those things, because we never may have found you, or you may never have found us if it wasn't for the Twitter or the media release of that happening. So, yeah, that's that's where we are with that. And it's been about a
Yeah.
year now, hasn't it? Yeah, since
Almost,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been about a year. So I stand corrected. I think you've been with us for longer than 200 days. I think you're somewhere around the 300 or 400 day mark now. Um, so, all right. So the name of Toctik, how did that come? Like, is that something that's been around since your childhood that you made, or is this something new that makes specific sense to the name?
Oh man, because it's kind of that old role-playing character, and yeah, almost to the childhood. And I found this kind of misspelling of like Toctik
Yeah,
was really easy to get online a lot of times. I mean, a six-letter long phonetic, kind of name is hard to get.
it is. Yeah, usually they're taken, or you have to put like a number sequence at the end. Um,
Right, right.
yeah, but yours
And I
is
was able
not.
to get it for PSN. I was able to get it for Twitter, and I've been able to get it a lot of other places throughout the years.
Mhm. Yeah, I had to use an underscore on my name in order for it to work. But I see what you mean, yeah, and especially for something that's spelled the way it is, you'd think that somebody else would have taken it, but no, you've got it. And when I looked you up as a friend, it was quite funny because there's only one Toctic. You're it. And I thought for a minute, did I get the wrong one? Did you not getting my chat invite? And no, you got it. It because there is that only one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the perfect thing. Like when you find that and you can use that name and you can use it in all bands and platforms, right? Um, it's really cool when you can do that and you can keep everything all in one name. So now, whereabouts are you from? What part of the world do you live in?
Washington State, USA.
Yeah.
So on the West Coast.
Ah, nice. You're not far from myself. I live just north of you in British Columbia.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah.
usually get probably about the same weather a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, we definitely share the same weather. A lot of rain, not much snow, a couple of weeks of sun. But it's beautiful out here. And I think Washington is the same geography. It's just mountains and beautiful scenery of trees everywhere. I do love this part of the world. It is fantastic, very mild.
Oh yeah, a girl came out from Midwest to meet me once and was just like in awe of all the mountains and hills and everything. She kept like, "Is that a mountain? No, there's no rocks on top. Is that a mountain? No, there's no snow on top."
Yeah, it's just a hill, but and it's just there's lots of it around the area, right? Hills, mountains, and so on. Um, have you always lived in the West Coast?
Yep, pretty much, except for a little bit of travel.
Okay, so yeah, this is home to you then. You're used to the
Oh
rain.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Rain
Oh yeah,
doesn't phase you at all.
liquid, liquid sunshine.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? You have the same terms as we do up north here. It's just liquid sunshine. You got to get used to it. And it's kind of like a rainforest, right? I mean, it may not be as warm as a typical rainforest, but without that rain, it would never be this lush and beautiful here.
Oh
And
man, well, I mean, there's the Olympic National Rainforest in Washington, and man, that place is really wet.
oh yeah, it's wet all the time. But we have bogs up here that are like that, where it's just constantly wet all the time everywhere. You would never even build on them without some form of major undertaking of structure, just because they'll sink. So, so Washington, eh? Wow, that's really cool. How you're only like 2 hours, 3 hours away from me. What part of
Yeah.
Washington? Like Spokane or
Kitsap
Seattle?
Peninsula,
Kitsap
so like
Peninsula. Okay.
just kind of right in the middle of the whole Puget Sound area.
You are. You can take a ferry to Point Roberts from there, can't you?
Uh, where's Point Roberts?
Point Roberts is at the very tip of British Columbia. It sticks out into United States territory
Okay.
and is accessed
I
by a Canadian town called Tawasin only.
It's like I think most of the ferries that I know of that go to Canada were from Port Angeles, but I don't
Yeah,
know, maybe they've expanded since then.
yeah. I've heard of Port Angeles, so yeah. But yeah, you can. Point Roberts is like this teeny little town, and I mean, when I say teeny, I'm talking like 2 or 3 miles. The kids that live in this little town have to be bussed out of across the border into Canada, 2 hour drive to the other border of the United States and Canada, and then cross into Washington to go to school. It has got to be the worst experience going to school ever, and I feel sorry for all of those kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
I grew up in the town of Tawasin, and it's a small town, and so we got to see this, and we're friends with a lot of them. We got to grow up around 5440, who played in the Breakers, which is a small bar in that town. So that was really cool, right? The hometown kids.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. What what? Okay, so you've been playing NMS for how long? Like, how long would you say you've been playing this? Since the beginning, or did you pick it up halfway?
Not quite at the beginning. I couldn't quite swing a PlayStation 4 right away that year. But next year, next holiday season, I was able to get it and get the game. And I got into it. I loved it then. I mean, I remember still like my first sessions flying down to a planet, first mission, flying along low. It's a distress signal. And then I see this big pillar of shiny yellow rock, and I'm like, that looks like gold. And I land and I scan it, and it's this giant pillar of gold. And I'm like, well, the distress call is going to have to wait. I'm going to fill my pockets.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just sitting here imagining taking off heavy, like
Mm.
really heavy, and flying back to the space station, selling it all. And then I thought, I wonder if I take that same course back for the mission, because I still had the marker.
Yeah.
So I'd go ahead and do it. And it had regened. And I'm like, oh, let's make some money.
Yeah, I made
So
my millions with gold too when I first
it's,
started.
I loved it then, but got a little bored with that state of the game and set it down for a while.
Yeah.
And then I start seeing the updates coming out, and it's like, okay, maybe now that multiplayer and all that's coming real, maybe now's the time to get back in. And it's just never looked back. Over 1,000 hours now.
Nice. Wow, that's some good time you put into it. So I guess around Foundation or just after Foundation, you picked it up then.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was when things really started to get interesting, and HG had started to redeem themselves, in the eyes of many people. Um, they were base building, and was Exocraft introduced in that update? I think so. Yeah, they introduced the roamer in that one. And so, yeah, fantastic. That was a great time. So you've been playing for quite a long time now. I would hazard to say that you're probably one of those old legacy members if you've been playing since Foundation.
Yeah, I just wish I'd paid a little more attention to it then and got the vertical planters for the carbon. I missed
Ah,
that bus.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I have them on two accounts of mine only, and I have like 15 accounts, but I only have them on two, and I sure wish HG would allow. I wish they would let everybody have carbon trays and take
Yeah.
and put the nip on the back burner. Like nip should be an outlawed kind of a thing, like drugs, right? It should be, yeah. Like only OG players can have it, but it can be spread around the galaxy, like you would like those recipes. But only OG players would be able to produce it, kind of thing. I think that would be kind of neat. But the carbon planters, that's a necessity, man. I mean,
Well,
it,
once you get the oxygen carbon loop going in a refiner, it's not so bad.
yeah, it can be done other ways. I have to admit, we've always found ways around it, but those carbon planters are the bomb. They are fantastic. I mean, when we have those saves going, we can set up the carbon planters. It's one of the first things we set up, and you basically they regenerate. You pluck it. You can build a whole bunch of things. The wooden structures, and by the time you run out of carbon, you're ready to pick up another batch of it again, and it was this really awesome continuous process. And I missed that. I wish they would put that in the game so that all players have access to the carbon planters. That one's a really biggie in my opinion.
It
Um,
would really help my first suborbital base because that one runs entirely on biofuel reactors and batteries. So
oh yeah, that's
there's
right.
like there's like a room where you could get trapped if you didn't bring fuel.
Oh man, yeah. I guess you really want to put on a lot of switches for that, so you only run power when you need it.
Oh yeah, there's like two separate generators and battery setups, and yeah, they can be isolated to save power.
Wow. Yeah, you don't think of that when you're making those bases way up in the atmosphere like that. Is how you're going to run power to them, because you can't just put a base in the middle.
Right? And solar works, but
Yeah,
it can be a little tricky.
I find you have to put like two solar panels per battery to keep up with the generated use of power that is drained from the battery, right? So like one battery will generate power, but it'll die overnight, and then it won't generate enough power to keep itself going after a while. So I end up having to put like two, so it generates faster, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
it
Yeah,
seemed to be the ratio for me.
yeah. Now, I mean, if you can avoid it, I find those electromagnetic
Oh, I
power
love
generators.
those.
Those are the bomb, right? You plug one of those things in, and it just powers everything continuously without any hiccups. You don't even need batteries. It just
Right.
runs it. Yeah. So now, what do you like in the game? What keeps you playing?
Oh, a little bit of everything. I love exploring and cataloging creatures and stuff. And I've got one save specifically, totally a nomad. His goal is to reach the last reachable galaxy, to go as far as he can.
Ah,
And
how far have you gone so far?
let's see what I was in, like the Hades or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So getting there
Good.
slowly.
Yeah. Now, did you say 80s or Hades?
Hades, or I'm not
Hades.
sure. However,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in the fifth galaxy right now. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
You got 250 to go. You're on your way. Well, you know what? You can hop on and join us in 42, and that might shave a few galaxies off for you if you like. Um,
That's part of the thing there is I didn't skip any of the galaxies, so he's actually been in every
he's
galaxy
been
to
in
get that
everyone.
far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will leave that for you. I understand completely. I have saves that are like that as well, where I wanted to make sure I went through every single one up to a certain point. Um, I've had a few hiccups along the way. I made it to 95, 97. Yeah, 97. And I got screwed on an update where it put me back in Eisentam when I joined a multiplayer and was never able to get back. I lost like 85 galaxies that day. Um, and I tried getting back in the teleporters, and all it did was just throw me in space and kill me. So, yeah, I left it. I did manage to go back to an old save that I found on the cloud, and that was in the 27th galaxy.
Oof.
So, yeah, I went back to the 27th, and that's where I stayed. But I've gone,
It's like
yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It's just traveling. I can pick up and go again if I want. Um, I've gone to
that's I've
42 on several saves already. I mean, if you want, add them all up, we've got over 100 galaxies crossed.
oh man.
But
It's like
yeah,
I've been hearing things that Ayosangala isn't reachable anymore. that Hello Games blocked that galaxy out?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know who's a good person to ask for that is Zaz Aarons or Alexa Check. Both of
Hmm.
them are in the final galaxy there, and I don't know if they've tried to cross it to see what happens or not. Myself, I kind of want to save that one. I almost don't want to go to the last galaxy just yet. I'm afraid it might take something away from the game that I love, kind of like an endpoint. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many galaxies to explore. I've raced through so many of them. It seems almost a waste for me to not explore them before reaching that end point or end goal. So I kind of took a step back and stopped traveling quite so much, and enjoyed the little community life and so on. But yeah, I tend to do a lot of traveling and then relax a little bit when updates come out and let things just sort of happen and bug fixes take place, and then I do my thing again. What keeps you coming back to the game? Like after a while, you play the certain thing for a while. Is there like one thing in particular that you just like can't get enough of?
Well, I do love building bases, even with all the problems that has at times. And it's always interesting. The most recent build I did was one where I wanted to create extremely convincing pictures to make people believe I had built a goddamn space station.
Oh, that's yeah.
And it was beautiful because I could look. There was a place on one of the landing pads where I could look down at about a 45-degree angle, and you could see the sunlight and rings and the curvature of this ringed planet. And it's just like, how? How
Yeah.
have you done this? And the secret is a Friar Tuck moon, an airless Friar Tuck moon.
Okay.
So Friar Tuck is just like, it's just poking up through the rings, just a little bald spot poking up through.
Yeah.
And so just build up and out from that bald spot and get out over the rings to where nobody can tell if you take the pictures right that you're not, that there's a moon there. You can just hide the moon.
That's kind of cool.
It was fun watching people on Facebook just go, how? How? And then finally one guy's like, look, you can't build out of atmosphere. There has to be a moon somewhere.
Somebody
This guy
clued
gets
in.
it. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I have built out of atmosphere before. I have built into the vacuum line.
Personally, I think it would be really cool if we could build our own space station or repair some of those damaged ones that we've seen in Uncharted systems.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
that
I'd
would
like
be.
to. I'd like to do some asteroid landing too. I mean,
That too.
because
Yeah.
everything's procedural, so every asteroid should be in the same place every time. So you should be able to build on them.
Build on them or mine them or land on them, get out. Um, Understandably, they would be hostile and cold, because it's space and there's no
Oh yeah.
atmosphere on them. But I think that you should be able to, like you should be able to land on them, and maybe you have like special tech where you can walk around on, something that doesn't have any gravity, right?
Yeah.
And mine, build a base or something, right? That would be really kind of neat. I'd love space stations to be added for us to be able to interact and build of our own and have our own economy in a system. And that would just be adding to, the whole freighters and frigates and your entire fleet. You'd be able to have that too, right, as your own personal hub for that person and their wealth that they've earned. I think that would be really kind of cool to be able to fix up those old space stations and claim them as yours. Um,
I was actually able to do a pretty good trick picture where I simulated landing on an asteroid once. The trick to it was I had my ship on a landing pad and deleted the base, and so that wiped out the landing pad and everything. And here was this ship just stuck, and the landing gear was stuck. When I got in, the landing gear didn't cycle.
so it stayed in it and it
So I was
stayed
able
open.
to take off and fly all the way out into space and just mooch up real close to an asteroid and take the picture.
That's perfect. See, now that's the originality that I love seeing in the game, where players do things or set up camera angles in order to
Oh
get these
yeah.
shots. Kirby's a master at this as well. You might be familiar with a lot of his work in the Cafe Amino. Um, where you're setting up camera angles to get these shots that would normally be impossible in game, with animals or the environment or whatever. And it's really kind of cool. Um, I love seeing some of your pictures you post in the cafe Discord, and by all means, throw them up in the Amino if you ever get a chance to do so as well. We encourage, posting in both platforms. We have both platforms to, just to keep everybody happy, right? Not everybody's likes Amino and not everybody likes Discord. So in order to have the community and everybody that we love around with us all the time, we've expanded to having both platforms. So I mean, if you are on both platforms and enjoy them both, by all means, spam away. We love, yeah, right. Like that's great content. We love seeing your pictures and your adventures and everything else, right? Whether it's Discord or Amino or both. And I certainly don't mind seeing the same post in one or the other, because it's the cafe, right? And that's your adventure, right? And sometimes you want to show it to different people who aren't in both platforms. So that's the great thing about it, is the shareability factor.
Well, so I've
So
been a perfect curmudgeon. I like resisted Discord as long as I could, and then it's pretty much every game is using it now. So it's like,
yeah,
fine, you're the new TeamSpeak, I'll get you. And
yeah.
then it's like,
hmm
oh, here comes Amino, and it's like, oh, okay.
For me, Amino came first, because at the time that was a platform that there was a lot of people that were joining in on Amino. I came in through a Twitch community of friends, and learned of Amino that way. And I really like Amino just because of its color and busyness. It has videos and pictures and lots of color. Whereas, Discord, it's got a lot of great things to it, but essentially it's chat windows, just a bunch of chat windows, and it's scrolling and so on like that, and you can organize it in different ways. So Discord is great for a lot of things. Amino is great for a lot of things as well. For me, I love Amino. Uh,
I prefer the Discord now, the simpler look, but then I'm always a minimalist.
it is better than Reddit. I'll say that. Reddit's word of wall or wall of words. Oh my goodness, it gives me a headache just to try and filter through some of it. But Discord is far more organized, and I do prefer Discord over other
It's at
sites.
least nice and clean.
It is, and there are things you can do with it as well, right? There is a character limit, but it's like 2,000. You can post pictures, GIFs, videos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And that's what makes it that much better, is you can put those pictures in there. It's just not, you can't be as specific as you can in other things like Word or Amino works very much like Word, where you could insert a picture wherever you want.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been finding though, at least with Discord, just the ability to copy a picture somewhere and paste it in without having to download it and
Yes,
upload it.
yeah.
Oh,
It just copies it and transfers that data over from one place to another, and it doesn't leave any trace on your phone. And Discord is really good for that. They've got some great features that I wish Amino would use as well. But hey, then you'd have too much competition. So, um,
yeah.
you've had you've told me that you've been doing some traveling and you've made it as far as Haiti so far. Have you ever thought of coming to the Zoberange Galaxy 42?
42.
Yeah.
Uh, the Wanderlust Gek will get there eventually, and when he does, I'll probably have to make a beeline to Cafe Space.
Oh, well, it's all cafe space out there. That it is cafe claimed territory and a cafe claimed galaxy. We are the only hub out there, and it is technically. I mean, granted, we don't own it, but it is one giant hub, Cafe 42.
Nice.
And it works perfectly within the moniker of the cafe, which is, of course, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And we love, all the lore and everything else that surround that, which makes it a lot of fun. So definitely don't forget your towel. And thanks for all the fish. Can't wait to see you out there. By all means, I believe Polo is making a run as well. He wants to go to the 255th. So you might want to get together with him, and see. You guys might want to play around and do some bouncing off of each other. You can really hit a lot of space fast that way.
Yeah, so I've heard. Whereabouts do you know is he now?
Polo is starting a new save just for that. I believe
Oh
he will.
wow.
I believe what he'll be doing is, I think he's going to start a new save in Euclid, bounce to Eisentam, and start warping from there.
That's
So
actually probably really smart with the way that they changed all the ship stats. So now explorers can break 3,000.
that's right. That's right. And I've been discovering that all explorers have the ability to have that stat if you wait long enough for those stats to roll around. So like what you used to do with waiting for that precious 64%, right? You would do now with
Looking
the
for 180.
180.4 so far, and I've seen a few of them now. Seems to be the max, but that's not to say there isn't one higher that I haven't seen yet. But it seems to be like when I'm ship hunting now, if I see the same ship over and over again, I'll see different S-class stats for them from anywhere from 164, 167, 177, 180.4 seems to be the max. So it seems to be available for all explorers if you wait long enough for, well, that S-class to spawn the right numbers for you. Um,
Yeah, that's when I was doing it for the Wanderlust Gek. I couldn't even wait for the 64. I think I took a 63, and
yeah,
he still gets like
63 is pretty good.
29.50.
Yeah, 63 is still really good. Um, but yeah, no, I know, I hear you. Sometimes finding that perfect, that perfect one,
It's
it
like
can take
I
a
want to get
long time.
going.
Yeah, you know what? What I found easiest for if you wanted to get going fast is just picking up one of the exotics, because their stats are well rounded and fantastic. And if you're only warping with it, you really don't need a lot of slots. Now that you can add slots,
That's it.
you don't even need to stop in space or anything. You just throw it all in your ship. This is old school racing, what I used to do with Kelly Monkey, a Twitch streamer, who, funny enough, I actually spoke to earlier today. Um, we used to pack everything before you had the freighters. Um, this is before Foundation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like you pack everything on one ship and your exosuit inventory, and we would race across the whole galaxy in one go, and we would load it all up in our ship and try and do it.
Oh man.
This and with tech and everything else, and it was a balancing act of how much you would need of certain resources to repair your ship to keep going, and it was really cool. We had some fantastic races, and back then that's all you had was carry it all on your ship. So now you can actually do that. You can carry it
Oh,
all
I,
on your
I
ship, and make them 48 slots and put all your tech in your tech slots. I mean, think of the possibilities of racing and moving across a galaxy at 3,000 light years or further. Um, so
It's like I
yeah,
couldn't imagine doing that in my Explorer before that update because with the systems I had in there, and I pretty much focused on just two weapon systems and the hyperdrive, I had one inventory space left in the ship.
oh dear, yes,
One.
yeah, yeah.
That was just so I could shoot things and pick things up if I wanted to.
Yeah, yeah, I find that's the one problem with 20 slotted ships is there's just not enough slots, because you got to have some tech, especially the warp, right? If you don't go big on the warp, it's almost not worth it. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and you can do that now, and that's great, right? I think that's a lot of fun. I think it might be pretty good to have a racing league, but nobody ever seems to show enough interest.
It's
It's it,
funny, I keep hearing people that are just disappointed in the slots and upgrading, and I'm just like, are you guys kidding me? Do you
yeah.
know how long I lived with a ship with one cargo slot left?
Well, yeah. Well, see that they want to be able to like take wings off and change the look of the ship, but I think that
I
changes
would
the
love
game.
that too.
It would be
But
fun.
I agree.
It would change the game and how we hunt ships, and it would take away from finding a perfect ship instead of building your perfect ship. So I think that one needs to stay away. I would like
Well,
color customization though. I think that would
that
be
would,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, to be able to customize your ship colors like you do your yourself and other components like the exocraft, right? I mean, I think that's fair. That would be cool.
If they wanted to add like parts customization, I think the way to do it so it doesn't destroy ship hunting would be to make it, literal ship hunting. If you see a part you want, you probably have to shoot that guy down and take it.
That would be kind of neat too. And in fact, that's the way kind of I thought it used to be when I first bought the game. That's how I thought I needed to get a better ship. Was I need to shoot those pirates and steal their ships. Of course, they shot me out of the sky every time in my crappy Rasa bomber with no upgrades, and I had no skills flying. But things have changed now, and you learn about the game and all the things that you can and can't do. And I love the fact that we can scrap ships now, and the whole salvaging has come back. I like salvaging. That was something I lived on back in the day. Is we would live off of salvaging ships. And use those resources instead of leaving footprints on planets and stuff like that and so on. We'd find a crash ship, take everything out of it, and then move on, right? And I like that. It's not quite the same now, but I do like the idea how you go to the space station, you can scrap it, you take the components. And use those components and so on and so forth. So now a rotation of 6 ships is now a rotation of 5 with an empty slot so that you can buy any ship at any time and scrap it. It's perfect.
That had
It's
to happen
perfect.
on a couple of my saves.
I do like that. Yeah, that's a fantastic thing that they've introduced into the game. So kudos on HG for doing that. That's a huge thing. I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Okay, this one I get, I ask everybody the same question because I love to hear all the different answers, and I'm curious to hear what yours is. Do you, sir, do you have the answers to life, the universe, and everything else in between?
Okay. Now, being a Hitchhiker Guide fan myself, I've heard some theories on what the answer would be. And my favorite theory, unfortunately, I've learned not too long ago, Douglas Adams specifically shot down.
Darn it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's
Yeah.
hear it. You know what? No theory is shot down on this show.
But it was that he was big into computers and understood computers pretty well. And so everybody looked through computer science and what does the number 42 mean in computer science? And if you go get an old ASCII table, the 42nd character is the asterisk.
The asterisk. Yeah.
And to an old computer, when you were like searching for a file, but you didn't maybe know the extension, you'd put in like a search for a file name dot asterisk, because the asterisk was a wild card to the old computer systems. The asterisk could mean anything. So the answer to that ultimate question of the life and universe and anything, if that theory is right, is the meaning is whatever you want it to be. It's a wild card.
I like that. It's whatever you want it to be. It's wherever you want it to find it. That's fantastic. Hopefully we find it somewhere in 42.
It would all line up.
Yeah. Well, you're traveling. You may find it in one of the galaxies leading up to it. And there's a lot of science in a lot of those galaxies as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, I'm chalking that one up there as one of my favorites. It's anything you want it to be. That's fantastic. Toctik, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm glad we were finally able to get together. It's been a little bit of a long road and so on, between one person being available and the other person not.
Yeah, I was just looking at those chats. It was like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was a while back. So I'm glad we were able to finally catch up. And I don't like to forget about guests. Sometimes if it doesn't work out, originally in the first week or two, don't lose faith. I won't forget about you. It's just a matter of timing and getting everything all together. Sometimes when you've got people across the world, it's really, really tough to coordinate all that stuff, and free time is always at a premium. So I really thank you for your time and being able to make it for me to be on the show. And thank you so much for being a loyal cafe member. Without you and players like you in the cafe, it's not the same place. You bring the vibe to the cafe. That's part of the cafe family is you guys. You guys are what make it. And thank you so much for making it for us.
Oh, you bet. I try.
You know, it's yeah, it just warms my heart because everybody that is here is all the like-minded same way, and we all just wanna have fun, and enjoy each other's company, right? In the community environment for a game that is, this is a weird one because it's not originally designed as a multiplayer game, but has turned into multiplayer. And the community isn't necessarily on multiplayer, it's in the media platforms.
I know. I remember reading about the discovery that you could not meet, that two players actually affirmed they were in the same location at
Yep,
the same time.
I
It
watched
couldn't
that
be.
YouTube stream. I was there.
Uh,
I know. And it can be done. Like we used to triangulate to find each other before there was even multiplayer. And we would use Twitch or multimedia platforms to do that. You know, if there's a will, there's a way. And we've all seemed to congregate around at the cafe. And we appreciate all of you guys.
it's like give humans a barrier, we'll crash through it.
Absolutely, absolutely. The game has provided us with such a huge sandbox, and it's great that we all find such different ways of enjoying it and manipulating it and having fun with it, right? Because I mean, hey, it's a game. Let's have some
Right?
fun. Yeah, right. Entertainment. Let's have some fun with it and play around. So, thank you so much for your time and being on the show. And I look forward to hanging out and playing with you a little bit more around the Unity One Hub. Have you been there yet? Do you need a lift?
I could probably use a lift. This is in Euclid?
Yep, it's in Euclid.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
After the interview, when I finish the record button here, I can bring you there, or at any time at your disposal, for that matter.
I got time tonight.
Right on. Okay, well, we'll do that. I'm going to end the show. Thank you very much, everybody. Toctik, everyone. Thank you for being on the show.
You bet. It was a good time.
Till next time.